What if I told you the difference between a conscious human being and a man trapped in a coma wasn't a medical barrier, but a spiritual, chemical one? In 1938, Edgar Cayce faced a man who doctors had declared was in an irreversible vegetative state. The family was broken, but Cayce didn't prescribe a drug. He prescribed salt, specifically baths in sea salt blessed with certain prayers. Everyone thought it was madness. Yet, on the seventh day, the man woke up. What Cayce knew, and what the world is just beginning to remember, is that salt is not just a food seasoning. It's the physical anchor for consciousness itself. It's the mineral key that unlocks your soul's memory, stored directly inside your DNA. Over the next 25 minutes, you will learn the secrets Cayce unveiled, why the Bible spoke of salt not as a metaphor, but as a powerful spiritual instrument, how your own body is wired to use salt for divine communication, and the specific, simple techniques he gave to thousands that used salt to awaken dormant psychic gifts. If you are serious about your spiritual path and ready to access a level of yourself you've only dreamed of, then make sure you are subscribed with notifications on, because this is the information your soul has been waiting for. It was during a deep trance in 1934 that Edgar Cayce delivered a bombshell about salt that sent ripples through his closest circle. His stenographer, Gladys Davis, captured the words as he spoke from that other state of consciousness. He declared that what we see as simple salt is, in fact, what he called a divine conductor, a substance uniquely designed to bridge the gap between our physical world and the world of spirit. But this is where the story gets truly unbelievable. Cayce revealed that inside every single salt crystal is a pattern, a type of vibrational signature that holds the memory of creation itself. He said that when this salt dissolves in water, particularly water that has been intentionally blessed, it unlocks these patterns. It creates an energetic field that literally recalibrates your body to be in tune with the divine. The reading was for a woman battling a blood disease deemed fatal by her physicians. Cayce's instructions were starkly simple. Dissolve blessed sea salt in water and drink it daily, holding a very specific intention in her heart. In less than 2 months, her blood tests came back perfectly normal. Her doctors, unable to explain the healing, simply wrote it off as a 1 in a million spontaneous recovery. They saw the result, they just couldn't see the mechanism. Here is the revolutionary insight Cayce uncovered about salt's frequent mention, over 35 times in biblical scripture. And I guarantee it's not what your Sunday school teacher told you. In a session that left his team astounded, Cayce clarified that when Jesus referred to his followers as the salt of the earth, it was not a poetic compliment about their worth. It was a literal instruction, a key to a spiritual technology they were meant to wield. According to the consciousness speaking through Cayce, salt was the very tool that allowed highly evolved souls to ground their immense spiritual awareness into the dense reality of a human body. The source explained further that salt's perfect crystalline geometry is a miniature physical reflection of the universal patterns in the Akashic records, the cosmic database of every soul's journey. Therefore, when you mindfully interact with salt, you are quite literally taking in crystallized truth. You're helping your soul reconnect with its original blueprint, its mission for being here now. This completely reframes what we know about prayer and healing. The archives of the ARE are filled with case files where Cayce prescribed salt-based protocols to unlock memories of past lives, amplify intuitive senses, and fast-track spiritual development. There's the case of a man from Kentucky who practiced a simple salt meditation technique. In just 3 months, he documented vivid, detailed memories of 17 past incarnations, lives that explained his most difficult relationships and confirmed his true career path, changing his present reality forever. But this is where it gets incredibly personal, and in the next 3 minutes, I'll share the case that left Cayce's own staff in awe. Cayce revealed that your body operates on what he termed a salt network. These are specific points and fluids in your body where salt is used to keep the lines of spiritual communication open. This isn't just biology, these are your built-in antenna for higher guidance. Think about your tears. They have the body's highest concentration of this spiritually charged salt. This is precisely why a deep cry during a heartfelt prayer or a moment of clarity can feel like a profound spiritual cleansing, bringing breakthrough insights. Your brain is literally suspended in cerebrospinal fluid, which has a specific salt balance critical for what Casey called soul to brain transmission. When that balance is off, due to poor nutrition or, more importantly, a spiritual disconnect, people begin to experience soul feedback. That's that nagging feeling of being adrift, of life having no point, a spiritual numbness that is an epidemic in our modern world. Now for the case that silenced the skeptics. As mentioned, a woman brought her husband to Casey in 1938. He had been in a vegetative state for 8 months after a severe accident. They'd spent their life savings journeying from Oklahoma in a last, desperate act of faith. Casey, in his trance state, gave them a highly specific regimen baths using sea salt from a particular source, blessed with specific prayers he provided, and timed to the phases of the moon. He explained that the man's soul had essentially become untethered from his body, and that the blessed salt water would act as a spiritual magnet, a grounding force to pull his consciousness firmly back into his physical form. The family was doubtful, but they had no other options. They followed every single instruction. On day 7, the man opened his eyes and spoke his wife's name. Within 3 weeks, he was walking, his mind largely restored. The doctors were dumbfounded, but listen closely, because the true miracle here holds a secret about the power residing in your own body this very second. Casey later clarified that this man's miraculous healing wasn't just a physical repair job. It was definitive proof that salt acts as a bridge between the physical and non-physical dimensions. The salt didn't just heal his damaged brain tissue, it literally re-established his soul's handshake with his body. This insight is a game changer for anyone struggling with depression, anxiety, or a feeling of being disconnected. Your body is always producing salt. However, Casey taught that the salt your body produces under different states of consciousness. For instance, when you are in a state of prayer, deep gratitude, or love, is vibrationally different from ordinary salt. Its molecular structure carries a higher charge. This is the hidden reason why tears of profound joy feel different and heal differently than tears of grief. The salt in your very being is constantly responding to your spiritual state. Here is what Casey revealed about salt that science is only now, decades later, starting to validate. In readings during the 1940s, Casey stated that salt crystals have memory. He described them as being able to store and then transmit vibrational information. This sounded like science fiction then, but today we know that quartz crystals are the foundation of modern computing, storing vast amounts of digital data. When you intentionally bless or pray over salt, you are performing a spiritual equivalent. You're programming that crystal with a specific frequency, an intention that your body's intelligence can then decode and use. The historical and archaeological evidence for this is overwhelming when you know what to look for. From the Dead Sea Scrolls that detail sacred salt covenants, to the unique mineral signatures in ancient Himalayan salt that defy modern geological explanation, to Native American salt rituals that eerily mirror the very techniques Casey outlined in his trances. The breadcrumbs are everywhere, all pointing to one truth: salt is a sacred technology. In one of the most thoroughly documented cases, a young woman was suffering from what we now call severe PTSD after a horrific experience in World War II. All conventional treatments had failed, and she was facing institutionalization as a last resort. Casey's reading gave her a specific protocol. It involved dissolving blessed salt in her drinking water and taking salt baths, all while holding a specific set of prayers. The change, witnessed by her family and doctor, was nothing short of miraculous. Within 6 weeks, the relentless nightmares ceased, her crushing anxiety lifted, and she described a feeling of being spiritually clean. For the first time since the trauma, she insisted the salt treatment saved her life, and she went on to help other war survivors with the exact same method. This demonstrates something critical about how salt works on a spiritual level. According to Casey, trauma creates what he called onergetic residue, a kind of psychic scarring that disrupts your clarity and connection to the divine. Salt, used with clear, loving intention, functions as a powerful spiritual solvent, dissolving this residue and allowing your soul's natural light to shine through again. So, how can you and I apply this profound ancient wisdom in our busy modern lives? It's simpler than you think. Casey gave very specific methods for charging salt. He advised simply holding natural salt, like sea salt or Himalayan salt, in your hands during your daily prayer or meditation. As you focus on your connection to the divine, you are allowing your own life, force energy, your spiritual essence to infuse those crystals. This charged salt can then be used in your food, in your bath, or a small amount can even be carried with you as a tool for maintaining clarity and spiritual protection. The method is incredibly simple, but the effect is profound. Take some pure salt into your palm, close your eyes, and connect with your highest intention. See divine, healing light flowing from your heart, through your arms, and into the salt crystals in your hand. Feel immense gratitude for this substance, a gift from the earth. A New York businessman who learned of Casey's work started this practice. Every morning, he charged the salt he would use that day. Within months, he reported a stunning increase in his business intuition. His prayer life became richer, and he felt a continuous current of divine guidance that made his life flow with ease. But wait, Casey shared an even more direct technique for using salt to access past life knowledge and find your soul's purpose. In several readings, he described a practice he called salt scrying. It's a method for receiving guidance by using just salt and water. The technique is to dissolve blessed salt into a bowl of pure spring water while holding a specific question in your mind. A question about your life's path, a challenging relationship, or your ultimate mission. As the salt crystals dissolve, you enter a meditative state, simply observing any patterns, images, thoughts, or feelings that arise. Casey explained that the dissolving salt creates a temporary vibrational window into the Akashic records, allowing your consciousness to pull information directly from your own soul's infinite history. A school teacher from California kept a detailed journal of her experiences with salt scrying over 6 months. Her notes, now in the ARE archives, document crystal clear guidance on a career change, how to heal a family rift, and a series of spiritual practices that led her to what she tearfully described as finally living my real life, my soul's mission. This connects directly to a hidden layer of meaning in the Bible that has been missed for centuries. Casey insisted that the numerous mentions of salt were not just stories. They were a coded instruction manual. Take the famous story of Lot's wife. Casey explained this wasn't a punishment for disobedience. It was a demonstration of a spiritual law. Her consciousness became so obsessively attached to the lower vibrations of the world she was leaving behind that her physical form literally crystallized into salt, the very element that preserves energy. The pillar of salt, therefore, is a powerful symbol of the choice every soul makes: stay stuck in the past, or transform yourself into an agent of purification for a higher purpose. This single insight imagines these ancient texts from moralistic tales into practical guides for spiritual evolution. So what does all of this mean for your life, for your spiritual awakening right now? It means that your daily relationship with salt is a mirror of your relationship with spiritual truth. When you begin to consciously use salt, blessing it, thanking it, seeing it as a sacred ally, you are plugging into an ancient and powerful current of cosmic consciousness. This simple shift accelerates everything. Casey taught that different salts even have different specialties. Sea salt, born of the ocean, is best for emotional healing and tuning psychic awareness. Pink Himalayan salt, from ancient mountains, it grounds your energy and connects you to the deep wisdom of the earth. Ancient rock salt can connect you to what he called time wisdom, knowledge from ages past, when humanity was more spiritually aware, a nurse who worked near Casey's hospital in Virginia Beach began quietly incorporating these ideas. She would silently bless the saline solutions used for her patients. She noted that these patients often seemed to have a more peaceful recovery. Meanwhile, her own intuitive abilities blossomed over 18 months of her personal salt practice. But this is perhaps the most shocking revelation of all about salt and your divine design. A 1944 reading from Casey stated that your body's internal salt balance directly governs your ability to receive and interpret divine guidance. When your cells are properly mineralized with high vibration, consciously charged salt, your entire physical structure becomes a better antenna. You become more receptive to what he called divine downloads, direct transmissions of insight, creativity, and healing from the higher dimensions of your own consciousness. This is the secret reason why Casey often gave salt-based protocols to people who specifically wanted to develop their psychic gifts or have a more profound connection during prayer. The salt literally retunes your physical body to be a clearer channel for spirit, and modern science, in its own way, confirms this. We know your nervous system is utterly dependent on precise sodium-potassium balances to transmit signals. Your brain cannot function without it. Casey's spiritual insight simply reveals the higher purpose behind this biological fact. A meditation instructor in Colorado started teaching Casey's salt techniques to her classes, and the results were stunning. Her students reported deeper states of peace, shockingly clear guidance, and what several called spiritual upgrades during salt-focused meditations that forever changed their understanding of their purpose. This leads us to the final, most important part, the practical steps you can take to bring this power into your life, starting today. Begin tomorrow morning by simply blessing your salt. Whether you put it on your food, in your bath, or carry it in your pocket, take a single moment to thank it and ask that it serve your highest spiritual good. Second, try a weekly salt bath ritual. Use a generous amount of sea salt or Himalayan salt in warm water. As you soak, don't just relax. Set an intention to release all that no longer serves you, physical toxins and spiritual baggage alike. Casey taught this practice clears your energetic field, making room for your soul's voice to be heard. Third, when you are at a crossroads or need deep insight, try salt scrying. Dissolve your blessed salt in a bowl of pure water. Hold your question, and then just watch and listen in a meditative state. The documented evidence from thousands of Casey's readings is undeniable. Salt is a divine technology. It's a tool to accelerate your awakening, amplify your connection to God, and empower your soul's work on earth. But there's a key to making this work in your modern life. Consistency is far more important than intensity. Start with the simple act of blessing your salt each day. As that becomes second nature, then incorporate a weekly bath or an occasional scrying session. Casey always stressed that spiritual tools work best when they feel authentic and are aligned with your soul's own timing, not when they are forced. Keep a journal of your experiences. Document the subtle shifts in your intuition, your dreams, and your feelings. Many of the most profound healing stories in Casey's files started with these simple, consistent practices. And finally, know that you're not alone in this. This is not some new age fad. You are tapping into ancient wisdom that was accessed and confirmed by one of the most documented mystics of all time. The proof exists across thousands of readings and decades of real-world results. By choosing to work with salt consciously, you are joining a timeless lineage of souls who have used the humble gifts of the earth for healing, awakening, and serving a divine purpose. You're not just learning a new technique. You are actively participating in your own evolution. You are remembering a sacred truth about who you are. The very salt in your blood, in your sweat, and in your tears holds the holographic memory of your soul's entire journey. When you work with it consciously, you are accessing your own cosmic library. You are allowing that deep wisdom to inform and guide your life today. As you begin this practice, stay open. The shifts may be subtle at first, or they may be profound and immediate. Casey's work shows us that spiritual growth skyrockets when we align with the natural, built in technologies of creation, and salt is one of the most powerful. Your spiritual journey is your own, but the sacred principles of salt are universal. They apply to every single soul seeking a deeper connection to the divine. If this knowledge has resonated with you, if it has opened a door in your heart, then subscribe and be sure to hit the notification bell. There are many more revelations from Edgar Cayce's legacy to share. Please, share this video with anyone you know who is ready to go beyond surface-level spirituality. The universe has given us simple, powerful, and accessible tools like salt to help us on our path. Your willingness to see and use these gifts is a signal from your soul that you are ready for the next level of consciousness that is waiting for you.